There's one receiver on the Titans roster that is not getting enough buzz, and he could be Cam Ward's X factor this season. We're talking about Chimere Dike, the 4th-round pick. It seems like all the fans' attention has been focused on Alec Iomanor, this exciting, big-bodied ex-receiver, or Xavier Restrepo, Cam Ward's former college teammate who somehow went undrafted. But Chimere Dike adds an element that no one else on this Titans roster can replicate.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Chimere Dike a little bit today because, as you noted, throughout OTAs, throughout minicamp, there was a lot of buzz on the other 2 rookie receivers, Alec Iomanor and Xavier Restrepo. Understood, right? Restrepo, probably the most hyped up UDFA in Titans history. That's saying something, but the natural connection between him and Cam Ward, and it showed up on the field. I read an article by Jim Wyatt the other day. I can't believe we track these things, but he led Titans receivers at minicamp with 13 catches. Right? With Alec Iomanor, there was a lot of buzz, guys like Teron Davenport talking about how good he looked at practice. You and I have kind of banged on the battle at X receiver. There's not a whole lot there in that room. So there's a direct pathway to snaps for him. Well, Chimere Dike might be the X factor of all those guys. Now, what's most interesting to me is we're focusing on him the least, right, of the 3 rookies. He was the first one they took of the 3 of them, right? Like, they started the 4th round by taking him, which means they had all Friday night to think about what they were going to do with that opening pick of the 4th round. Remember, they hadn't taken a wide receiver yet. The sky was falling in this fan base. I can't believe they haven't taken a receiver yet. What are they going to do? Well, they opened Saturday of the draft by taking Chimere Dike. It came as a bit of a surprise. I want to talk a little about what I think he adds to this offense, what he brings to the table from an athletic perspective, but I'll throw it back to you in case I'm talking a little too much here.
Yeah, I think it is interesting because when he was drafted, it was an underwhelming selection because it wasn't a name that Titans fans were as familiar with. I don't think he produced the same big numbers in college that gave him like a pre-draft hype. He wasn't necessarily a draft Twitter darling. He wasn't someone that every fan knew their name, and there were other receivers on the board who fans were aware of, and I think maybe wanted
Titans
to draft.
fans wanted Restrepo there, probably right
yes,
there.
Yes, everyone wanted Restrepo, and there was another guy, Jalen Royals, who everyone on Titans Twitter was clamoring for, but the Titans go with Chimere Dike, and I think what's most interesting about him, and you're about to get into some of his profile stuff, he was used in a very specific, isolated way at Florida where he didn't get the chance to run a full route tree and show everything he can do in an NFL-style offense. And the Titans want to use him in all kinds of ways. I think he actually has the most versatility of any of the receivers they added this offseason in free agency or the draft, and he was used with the least versatility in college.
I'd agree with that's a great point. I hadn't thought of that, and I agree with that because one thing I'll add, and I think the Titans would agree too, is, with Alec Iomanor, we're very focused on him playing X, understandably so. With Xavier Restrepo, we're really focused on him playing the slot, understandably so. When it comes to Chimere Dike, he's the only one who Brian Callahan has gone to the podium and said, well, he's playing Z and he's playing slot. Like he's learning both positions because we envision using him at both. Back to the profile stuff. We talked on a recent episode about Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker as well, saying, what a Tennessee Titan's going to look like. Well, a wide receiver, I think that's speed, because they added a lot of speed this offseason. No more proof than Chimere Dike himself. So he goes to the NFL Combine. He runs a 4.3 40. That was the third fastest 40 of any receiver in attendance. He runs a 6.82 3-cone. That was fifth fastest. Anything under 7 is really, really good. So that is high-level straight line speed, but it's also high-level agility and change of direction. Not just the straight line stuff, it's the ability to kind of sink your hips. And he did that, right, in the 3-cone. When you run times like that, the sort of stereotype is, this must be a small receiver to be moving that quick or to be changing direction that quickly. No, he's 6'1", 196. Terrific size for the position. And then when you add that again with the speed and agility profile, you're really excited about what he could become. By the way, he also jumped a 38.5-inch vertical and a 10'8" broad. Those are really good results. The lower body explosion stuff as well.
Yeah, and on that note, I don't know if people realize this, that's about the same height and weight as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Now, I'm not saying Dike is going to be the best receiver in football, but he is not, if you think those guys are big, that's the same size that Dike is. He's a little bit lighter, but he's about the same height and almost the same weight. So he is definitely big enough and strong enough to be an effective NFL receiver who is an every down player no matter where they want to use him, and he runs a 4.3 4.40.
Exactly. And then I go back to what he did at Florida this past year. You talked about him not running the complete route tree. He was really good at running those deep crossing routes. That was his bread and butter. I talked to him about that. I knew it was coming, but I asked him, what was your favorite route to run? And he said, well, I did a lot of damage on those deep crossing routes this past year. He started his career out at Wisconsin. The production was pretty tame. He goes to Florida this past year. They use him in this sort of specialized role. It worked. He averaged 18.6 yards per catch this past year. Anytime their passing offense needed a big play, they looked his way. They put him in those positions to run those deep crossing routes. He excelled. He made big-time plays down the field for them. And when I look at that route, and I think you'll agree, I look at some of the stuff they're putting into the playbook for Cam Ward this year. The switch verts, four verts, Y cross, all of them have something in common. Deep down the field, it's searching for explosive plays. We know Cam Ward is a big-time play quarterback. He's going to love Chimere Dike's ability to sort of take the top off the defense. And sometimes we get tangled up in these, you got to run a complete route tree. NFL execs, scouts, they'll tell you, don't always focus on what a guy can't do. What can he do for my offense? If Chimere Dike is in a specialized role where it's, hey, we're going to put you on the field when we want big-time plays, when we want 15, 20, 25-yard gains down the field, that could add a layer of explosion to the Titans' offense, one that was desperately lacking last season.
Yeah, on that note, the Titans last season had 30 plays that gained 25-plus yards. This is total plays that gained 25-plus yards. That was tied for 24th in the NFL, a.k.a. 9th worst in the league. The Titans need to get a lot more explosive on offense, and DK is potentially the most explosive player on the entire roster.
And I totally get why, fans have been focusing a bit more on Io Manor and Restrepo. With Io Manor specifically, I've said this a million times, I'll keep it short, not a lot of competition out there at X. Totally get that. For Restrepo, it's, the fanfare between him and Cam Ward, what he did at OTAs and minicamp. I get that too. With DK, it's a little harder to see where he gets on the field on offense, because if he is playing Z, that's where Calvin Ridley plays. If he is playing slot, then he's contending with Tyler Lockett and Xavier Restrepo. But I'll wager the ability to play two of those positions does give you more opportunities to get him onto the field, at least in certain packages, right? You can move Calvin Ridley around a little bit. Tyler Lockett at his age might not be an every down guy, and you never know with injuries. So his ability to back up two positions does create a pathway to getting him on the field. And keep in mind, he is so different from Restrepo. He's so much bigger than him. He's so much faster than him. Don't just assume, if Lockett's not on the field at slot, it's going to be Restrepo. Because of that big playability DK adds to the offense, there's an opportunity for him to get snaps. And then I'll take it one step further if you're okay with it. How about special teams? I wager he is going to be the starting kick returner and punt returner. Week 1, I think he's your kick returner. 26 career punts returned in college, 20 career kickoffs. He is the only guy that's a surefire bet to make this roster that has experience returning kicks and punts. If it's not him, it means they're forced to keep someone they probably don't want to keep. A James Prochet, a Mason Kinsey, a Julius Chestnut. I know I'm keeping DK. I know he can return kicks and punts. That gets me an extra roster spot. I don't have to keep James Prochet because DK is going to do it for me. So for me, when I look at what he adds on offense, the speed, the positional versatility that the other two rookies don't have, and then what he can do for you on special teams, when I combine that with how little we're talking about him as a fan base, I start to think that he's the rookie receiver we need to be talking about way more than we currently are.
And there's also another super underrated element, which is his football intelligence. He has been praised up and down by Mike Borgonzi, by Brian Callahan, by Tyke Tolbert, the wide receivers coach. Everyone is talking about how quickly he's picking up the offense, and that's why they're able to throw multiple positions at him so early in his NFL career, is because he is very smart on the football field, and you see it the way he runs his routes, because that deep crosser you talked about, you have to be able to read coverages and adjust to them on the fly. If it's man coverage, you have to know where your landmarks are. If it's zone coverage, you have to understand where the spacing is within the defense to find those open shots. And he is really good at that on the field, live, running full speed. But he's also really smart in the meeting rooms. And I definitely think a huge part of his ability to pick up the offense as quickly as he has is going in at 5 a.m. and meeting with Cam Ward every morning and watching film together and running through the script for the day so that they all have a good understanding of what they're doing. And it's not just DK who's picking up the offense quickly. All the rookies seem to be, according to the Titans coaching staff who's talked about them after practices. So you combine that football intelligence with that insane athleticism, there's no one else on the roster like that. And I think when you talk about rookies who transition slowly to the NFL or who end up like a Des Fitzpatrick, who was a 4th-round wide receiver who completely busted, there's an element of not being able to pick up the game and not being able to adjust to the speed of the game. But Tyke Tolbert said that DK is playing as fast as he looks when he's running in shorts, that he's playing at that speed, which means he's not spending a lot of time thinking. So we can't, as much as we love the athleticism component, we can't underrate the mental component. And I think DK has both, which is another reason why you and I think he's going to be an early contributor in this offense. Probably won't open the season as an every down contributor, but by the end of the season, he could be one of the leading receivers on this roster from a game-to-game basis.
I also keep coming back to 11 personnel. Like, as excited as I am about what Tyler Lockett and Xavier Restrepo brings to this offense, if I can get Chimere Dike into a package role at that slot position, I've got him, let's say Calvin Ridley, and one of Alec Iomanner or Van Jefferson on the field at the same time. All three of my receivers are like pushing 6'1". Iomanner's even taller than that. 6'1 plus, 190 plus. I've got three big, fast receivers on the field. That gives Cam Ward so many options, right? You're not worried about the undersized matchup, things of that nature. You got three big, fast. Remember, Titans want to get big and fast. They've talked a lot about that at edge this offseason. But they've also done it at wide receiver, in my opinion, as well. So don't underestimate what DK can bring to this team, especially in 11 personnel, where the Titans could have one of the bigger, faster packages in the NFL.
So stop sleeping on Chimere Dike. He is the X factor, the underrated, no one's talking about him X factor for this Titans offense for Cam Ward this season. I'm really excited to see what he can do when the Titans take the field. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this short video, remember to like it, hit subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. What are you expecting from Chimere Dike this year? And check out some of our other videos. We did a short on Femi Oladejo and why he hasn't signed his rookie contract yet. And we also have the Music City Audible podcast where we do full-length episodes covering everything Tennessee Titans. You don't want to miss it. Check it out. Until next time, y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.